Hey folks, it's time for Point and Shoot. This week we take a look at frame photography. Not necessarily the frames that you're thinking about. This has a little bit of a twist. We also take a look at some of the tools inside of Photoshop and other software options that you can use for editing your photos. Check it out. All right, folks, what's going on? Pruitt here. Hope you're doing well. I'm unbelievable as always, even though I'm currently battling through a root beer ale. I'm not a root beer fan.
Choice. Your choice.
I just can't. I can't pour beer out, man. It hurts to have to pour beer out.
You need to tweet
Jeez.
Mary Jo Foley to find out the best beer to get.
Oh gosh, I'll get through this one though. Anyway, this is the smartphone photographers community, and this is our weekly hangout on here that we like to call Point and Shoot. Folks, we get together to discuss different tips and tricks that will help make you a much better smartphone photographer. Because believe it or not, your phone has a really good camera on it. I'm sure you've heard it. It's got a nice camera. It's got a nice camera. But the thing is, most of us don't even get all of the capability out of these things. You know what I mean? That's what myself and my colleagues here in this hangout, that's the kind of stuff that we're going to talk about and show you how to make those cameras take some really, really nice photos. We also have a weekly challenge that's proposed by a community member, and we put those folks to the test, and we submit the shots, we vote on them, and we talk about all of those, well, not all of the shots in the challenge, but we highlight a few of them and discuss our, what will we do, what we wouldn't do differently, and all of that good stuff. A little critique session. But anyway, let me allow these guys here in the hangout to say hello. We're going to go all the way up to the corner of the U.S. Let's start with my man, Joey Kelley. How you doing, brother?
I am doing well, my friend Ant. It is always a pleasure to get together with you and Sweeney. Oh, and King, too.
Oh, and King.
Sorry, King, you're here. I had to pick on somebody. Anyway, but I'm looking forward to this week. I have to admit my enthusiasm for smartphone photography has increased several fold since I got my Nexus 6 and actually have a camera that I feel is worthy of taking pictures with.
And you went from what to a Nexus 6?
A Moto G.
Moto G, okay, yeah. It's a quality phone for the price, but camera-wise, no, not so much.
Well, what was worse was that the previous phone I had before the Moto G was an HTC One.
Yeah.
So I go from an HTC One to a Moto G, and now I'm back up to where the HTC One was with the Nexus 6, if not a little bit better. I think the One was a first gen. I think it only had a 10 megapixel camera. This has got a 13.
No, yeah, this one's much better than the One, different pixels. But yeah, it's good to see you, man. I'm glad you're able to get back into the hangouts semi-regulars. I know you're a busy man and doing all of your stuff up there in Maine.
Yeah, well, we also changed the night of Attack of the Androids, so it's no longer on Thursdays. It's on Wednesdays now, so I'll be able to make this on a more regular basis.
Oh, it's on Wednesdays now?
It's on Wednesdays now. We had a change in the day due to a days off schedule from the producer.
Well, I'll be dipped. So that rascal didn't even tell me. Said producer's name is Matt Lee, who happens to be a community member, who happens to be the guy that runs the server for our website. But yet he didn't tell me. Okay, Matt, appreciate that. Sorry, rascal. Anyway, welcome, Joey. Good to see you. Next up, my man down in Tejas, the Apple lover himself, as in Apple computers, that is, Michael King. How you doing? And is he cocking a gun? What the heck was that, dude?
Yeah, he's going to shoot that iPad.
Oh, gosh. He's got a gun aimed at his iPad. It's okay, man. It's all right.
This is Texas version of skeet shooting.
While we were doing this, I was cleaning everything. I was just now bring the round so I can put it aside.
Oh, man.
This is my carry. I do have a CHL.
Someone Photoshop a video of somebody yelling "pull" and an iPad and shoots out of it.
Good gosh.
Well, let's put it this way. My iPad 1, I had so many credit card stuff and there's not really a true way to truly erase one of those. So I took it out to the range
That's what you got to do, man.
And
You destroy it.
yeah, and I said I'm taking advantage of my all of my information getting out. So I just took an M16 to it.
Attaboy.
But I'm
You were
doing
quite
great
all right.
here. It's just hot. It's just extremely hot.
I know that feeling.
We just finally cooled off to only 95, and it's now 8:21 Central Daylight Time.
Oh, that sounds oh so familiar. Jeez. But anyway, good to see you, my man. All right. Next up, my man over in dreadful, sunny California with the nice, wonderful weather, presumably. Mr. Mike
see that
Smith, how you
temperature?
doing, bro?
75
man.
and sunny, dude. 75 and sunny.
Man. That's golf weather. Oh my gosh. Golf weather.
Sorry, you know what?
This is how I endear myself to friends and family.
I do not like folks watching this. I do not like that dude, by the way. Just gonna let it be known. How you doing?
We have SweeneySucks.com.
That's right. That's right. I've got my my water level right here.
Mm-hmm. Water level because my man is getting ready to do a you getting ready to do a marathon or half marathon, right?
Half marathon.
Half marathon. So
There is a beer in the fridge, but I need my water first.
Nice. Appreciate you joining us and hanging out. King, yeah, we see it's hot down there. Jeez. All right. Anyway, let's go ahead and get rolling with this this here hangout, folks. Last week's challenge was proposed by my man Tim McCusker. Tim McCusker is one of our members that's, from a challenge standpoint, he's pretty daggum strong. He's got several victories under his belt, if you will.
Several hundred.
And so with the challenge last week, he was pretty excited. I remember getting a message from him. He was pretty daggum geeked about coming up with this challenge. And when he mentioned it, I thought it was pretty clever. It's called Framed. Framed. So
I was framed.
So I'm going to pull this thing up. And let me see, how did he describe it first? Let me read how he described it. All right. Let's see. Frame. Find the frame. Take it with you and use the frame in your photo. I don't want a Photoshop frame at it. Use the frame as an actual frame in the shot, or use it as an element of the composition. I like that. I like that. Now, granted, we did have to get a little clarity on this because, heck, I'll just say me. People like me went out and I did not use a physical frame, as he says there. I just used the frames that I saw out in nature. And I'm glad it gave me a pass on that. But I would have been totally fine with grabbing a frame and going out and taking shots out there. But yeah, this was
I
this
didn't
was
use
pretty
Photoshop when I did my frame. So.
Yeah, you clearly did not use Photoshop, smart aleck. Smart aleck.
He used
So what-
Snapseed.
Gee, so what I do is I pull up the screen share and show off these shots that were submitted, and we're gonna talk about these things a little bit. So let me get my screen squared away, because you guys don't need to see everything on my screen. Jeez,
Yeah, it's probably X-rated.
no comment.
That's right.
All right, here we go. So you guys see my screen now?
Yeah, his background is Budweiser.
Well played, bastard. Smart ass.
Miss Budweiser.
Jeez.
It's just three frogs with speech balloons.
I hate all of y'all. Gosh, I don't like y'all.
Prove it. Yeah.
Let's take a look at some of this here. So I like this one here, as I'm seeing it late. This is from
That was fun. That was fun.
Matthias Jazak. And crap, I know he has told me how to pronounce his name before, and I am so sorry. I remember reading the message, but Mr. Jazak, he used an Xperia Z3 compact using ViscoCam. That's a pretty interesting piece of software. I haven't quite figured it out. I've tried it a couple times, and
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people do it. I don't. Again, it might just be me. I'm slow, you know. But again, the theme of this challenge this week was framed, and how in the world did he shoot this? Did he borrow hands from somebody else? This is one person, and this is another person, and
Or
he
there-
stood back.
some phones have a timer.
Yes, you could be clever and put your phone on a tripod with a timer,
Uh-huh.
or you could just borrow somebody's hands.
Okay. But this one, I really, really like how this came out. The color of it is pretty good. The idea itself says a lot about it. It's just it's a
Original.
clever shot. You know, it's not. I don't know of anything I'd change on it. I don't see a lot of hot spots on it, as far as anything just brightening and blowing my eyes out. I like it. I don't have an issue with the hands being out of focus very much.
I like it, actually.
I do too.
I think it puts the focus on the actual subject matter right here, you know, not the frame. It's just the frame happens to be just another element of the overall shot. But anyway, that is with this Sony Xperia Z3, and a hell of a shot. Let me let you guys pick through this thing. Let's start with you, Mr. King. Pick through it. Anything?
I like it, and that's original. That's also originality, using hands to frame the photo.
Mm-hmm.
I like it, and I like the fact that the person with the umbrella is in perfect focus. The hands are a little bit out of focus, and everything in the background is focused. I don't know if he used the app to make it to enhance the blurriness, but I just like it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like the originality of it, because I saw a lot of frames, and most of them were picture frames.
Right. Well, and again, that was because of the
Right.
subject matter. So.
Right. But when I heard of frames, I would think the hands, anything that can do with framing,
Mm-hmm.
and as
Not just
like,
an actual picture frame.
Right. And I like the way he did, because I don't know, it looks like it's his hands. So he probably has this on a tripod,
Mm-hmm.
or he has it somewhere that is where he can set the timer and got everything just where he wanted before it snapped the picture. But I like it.
Pretty freaking clever. What are your thoughts, Sweeney?
It's a good picture. I like it. The only thing that kind of bugs me a little bit,
Mhm.
I would have cropped it a little tighter on the top and the right-hand side. I like the way you've got the one finger and the thumb on the bottom frame, and I'd kind of like to continue that with the rest of the image.
I see what you're saying. Where the sky isn't this shit.
Yeah,
You don't want the sky.
I find that a
visible
little
here.
distracting. Just crop it down a little tighter, and I think you'd have a killer image.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
the using of a handmade like that vignette,
Yeah.
with a white background sky
Mhm.
and a dark blue umbrella with and I might actually rip up the clarity really high to pull up those raindrops on the umbrella.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have to agree.
That's just, again, that's me thinking out loud.
Mhm.
You know, if he would have cropped it the same way as the other side is cropped on the left-hand side, that would have done a lot better. And also, as you said, bring it cropped down a little bit to the same length, top of the hand. Just take out some of that sky.
This might be a natural image for a square format.
Yes.
Don't see very often. At least not these days. What are you?
Surprisingly enough, ever since I joined Instagram, I find myself shooting a lot more square.
Mhm. Because it sort of constrains you to, right?
It does. Yeah. Well, I used to shoot square years ago. That's what the damn camera shot when we were filmed.
Of course.
So
What are your thoughts, Kelley? Mr. Kelley? You there,
As
Mr.
I
Kelley?
unmute myself.
There you are.
I have to admit, I'm blown away. This is one of those shots that it's outside of the convention of the challenge by just enough to make it awesome, but not enough to violate the rules, if you catch my drift.
Yeah.
The spirit of it was to lug around a frame. Never said that the frame had to be a physical wooden, metal, plastic frame. It just had to be a frame. And I love the way that those rules were bent here. And if you recall, geez, what was it, Ant? 2 months ago, 3 months ago, longer than that. I had that 5-minute tirade about I don't care what the rules are, just make the image move me,
make me an image.
and that's
tell a story.
Tell me a story with the picture. And this doesn't necessarily tell me a story, but it definitely makes me intrigued.
Yeah.
Like I want to know what's going on. It's making me
attention.
curious.
Oh, come on. Yeah. There's a mystery umbrella standing there, and you don't know who or what's underneath it. How much of a story do you want?
But that's what I mean. It's not telling me a story, but it's hinting at me at a story. It's tempting me into a story. And,
my concern, and well, it's not a concern, but excuse me. He may not have had the power, but I would have liked to have seen like a red umbrella myself, just to see something really pop right there in the middle of it. I mean, I like that blue, and I agree with you, Sweeney, regarding the highlights and the clarity on it, where you could see the raindrops a little more.
Yep.
That'd have been cool, but something about I just wanted to see a red right there. I'm curious to see what a red one would look like.
Well, it turns out if someone used Photoshop,
yes, you could replace.
You could do selective color replacement, and you can make it any color you wanted.
Yeah. I bet that
now,
would look
I would tell you
cool.
this though, that if you turned that red, it would clash with the skin tone of the hands.
Yes, that's the problem.
Really? Okay.
Absolutely. Right now, you've got a really cool balance between the red brown on the hands versus the blue and a touch of blue in the sky.
Okay.
Maybe I could look better with a yellow umbrella.
If you really wanted to play dangerously, you turn it black and white.
True.
You'd lose the pop of the blue, but you might pick some pretty interesting texture.
Yeah, but if you really, really, really want to get dangerous, you turn the umbrella red first and then turn it into a black and white.
Oh, I can see
I thought
that.
you were going to say turn the umbrella inside out.
Right.
No, Joey, I see what you're saying. Red inside of a black and white filter does look a little interesting from what I've seen in my own experience.
Yeah, the thing that a lot of us forget about black and white is that even though the picture's in black and white, the subject was in color.
Mm-hmm.
Just because the medium didn't take the picture in color doesn't mean the color wasn't there. Right. Black and white is not the absence of color. It's the medium not showing you the color. Well, and it's an important jump for people to make. And I have no doubt that Sweeney knows that.
That's why I giggle when I see a lot of these colorized images. Because in the old days of shooting black and white movies, you didn't necessarily wear the colors you would think. You wore colors that would show up correctly on the film.
Yep.
So in real life, the colors that the actress was wearing would probably hurt your eyes.
Oh yeah.
But they look perfect. They look perfect in black and white because they gave the correct tones of black and white to look good.
Well, speaking of that same line, no, sorry, Mike, King, not to cut you off, but speaking along those same lines, they tried to take some of those very good black and white videographers and filmmakers from that period and then put them in color, and they couldn't do it. It didn't work because they were so used to working with shadow and lack of color that when you put color into it, it just frigged them completely up. Sorry, King, I'll shut up now.
I'm just saying, you were talking about, if you see some from the Smithsonian, they showed a lot of the dresses that were worn back then that were, from the black and white years, and they were bright, either red or bright colors that were, as you say, you need dark glasses around them.
Well, it's not just you'd see someone with like the red dress and a green scarf, which would literally hurt your eyes. But when you saw that in black and white, you got some really, really great color going on, or I should say tones.
Tones, essentially. I didn't know that, though. Nice. So that was Mr. JSAT. Let's go and take a look at another one here. Let's pick on this rascal.
Rascal.
This one. This one comes from.
Oh man, come on! Don't be picking on me.
Oh, I'm gonna pick on you. I'm gonna pick on you. This is from my man, Mr. Mike Sweeney here tonight.
He said frame.
And you know what? I gotta give him some credit because yes, this does create a frame. It does create a frame. You know,
That's the only thing he got going for him.
He bent the rule, but he didn't break the rule. But another thing about Mr. Sweeney is, you know, he's just plugging the rest of his work. You know, he's just plugging all of his other photography that he does out there, taking pics of the kids playing soccer out there in sunny California. So I give you credit, man, for this little cross promotion you got going on here, man. Cross promotion. Now, where'd all this come from? I got to ask you that.
Oh, which? The frame?
Yeah, everything. This you got this from an app?
So remember what I said? I didn't use Photoshop?
Yeah.
I used that.
You just used an iPhone app.
It's literally an iPhone app.
Okay.
And the quite literally you tell it what picture that you're going to use, and it runs off and it says, all right, what do you want to put on it? And you get to pick and choose and decide what kind of frame you want and what kind of style you want, and drops it in. Just lickety-split. I mean, it literally took about 20 seconds to put this together.
The thing is, I've seen similar apps like that in the past, and I didn't like them because of the output. This looks pretty daggum realistic. I mean, this looks like you, from when I saw it on my phone and looking at it here, this looks like you stood over a table and shot a picture of a magazine. I think they did a pretty good job, whomever made this app, though.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up the app right now for you. And let's see here.
That's when I saw photo in, and that's what he's
Photo
using.
Lab. So it's actually called Photo Lab.
Photo Lab.
And that's what it looks like.
I think they did a good job.
This is one of the best apps I have found for this type of compositing on the iPhone. If you don't want to change the composite, it's awesome.
Right.
You know, so don't expect to have layers and do all that fun stuff. But if you just want to throw together a really fun background, or change it into a line drawing, or change it into a watercolor or something like that, this app rocks.
Nice.
And you can see the quality. I mean, this is a high quality image.
Yep.
It's not kind of grainy. It's not kind of ugly looking. It's like, you know, slapped together.
I mean, it even has just the glossy highlights here.
You do a fine job.
I was like, wow.
I stumbled over this app maybe 6 months ago, and I've just been having a ball with it. What's really fun is I was able to put one of my kids into a space helmet and then drop her into a tank helmet on a tank. She got completely excited about it because she's all about Halo right now. So.
Of course. A little fun for the kids to see that. That's what's up, man.
Oh, yeah. And the thing was, she saw me do it, and then she goes, well, I want to do it. So I said, okay. So I handed her the phone, and she walked around for the better part of an hour taking pictures of her sisters and dropping them into different, you know, composites.
Just trying to work those creativity muscles. That's all right.
Yep. I think it was like, you know, $1.99 or maybe 99 cents. It wasn't that expensive. It's pretty cheap.
Is that by Vicman LLC?
That's a really good question. Let me see if I can pull it. It's called Photolab Pro.
Because if it is, then I just found the Android equivalent on Play.
I'm on version 2.3.7, which is the latest. So let me pull up their Facebook page, and I'll tell you a little more.
Yep, Photolab Pro, $3.99, but they have a non-pro version.
Right, so it's PHO.TO.
Yep, Lab Pro. Yep, got it. $3.99 Play Store.
Yep, that's pretty awesome.
Very nice. Well, that's a nice plug for them, but I just wanted to point that out. It got my attention. I chuckled, but then I was like, damn, this looks really good to be an app. All right, so let's move on to a couple other shots to highlight here before we get to our winner one. This one.
It's a frame.
My man, Richard Orth. And this is when I had the question come to my mind. I was like, you know what, am I going about this the right way? And I wasn't sure because I was like, damn it, I probably should have used the frame. But then when I saw his, and I was like, he didn't use the frame either. Are we both wrong?
He framed it. Not only that, he split it.
Yeah, this thing, Richard, well freaking done, man. And he used some freeware, GIMP, to edit
GM,
this thing, man. Good
no
stuff.
counting for taste.
Whatever, man. Don't you hate on GIMP? Don't you hate on GIMP? I used that for a long time. But nah, what did he shoot this with? iPhone 5, yeah, iPhone 5, and did his editing in GIMP, and he put a lot of time into it. He details out the time and work that he put into this.
I really love the effect. I love the effect that he did here.
I mean, you got the frame right there, of course, with the window, but you got your color here, you got grayscale here, but what gets me is he's got color right there in the middle of the grayscale. That's a nice touch, Richard. That's pretty damn cool, bro.
Can I tell you why I don't like it?
Please do. Let's hear it.
All right, two things. It might be technically within the realm of the challenge.
Yep.
But I don't feel that it embodies the spirit of the challenge.
Okay.
Because a true frame, at the risk of sounding like an idiot that doesn't know what he's talking about, a true frame shot should have the frame all the way around.
Okay, I get that. Encompasses the whole object.
No.
You don't think so?
No.
Single thing on the image that's actually sharp and in focus.
I will respectfully disagree with that one.
Well, hold on. All right, hold on. So a frame, if I was to look up a definition of a frame, does a frame encompass one object altogether, or is it a piece cut out of it?
Well, Neither. If you go back to the way the wording of the challenge was, it was carry a frame with you and blah 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 blah. Well, the purpose I felt was to encapsulate the world within a frame.
Within a frame, okay.
And we're seeing two parts of a world, one in and one out of a frame, but nothing fully in the frame.
The rear view mirror, or the rear side mirror, is in fact framing the world.
That's a frame right there.
But everything's blurred, so I can't tell if that's the point of what I'm supposed to be looking at or not.
Okay. I give you that, Joey.
And because there's color on both sides, in and out of the windshield.
So you're wondering where to look. Where's my focus?
Where do I look? Everything's blurry. My eyes hurt, and I can't tell where I'm supposed to be looking. Am I supposed to be looking, in the color part of the windshield that's fuzzy, or am I supposed to be looking at the rearview mirror that's fuzzy, or what am I supposed to be looking at? What is the point of this image? It's creative, I get it, but it looks way too much like a Pink Floyd album cover for me. I'm not sure.
I thought you would be all over that.
Maybe that's why I liked it.
I am a Floyd fan, but I like the music. But sometimes the cover art was just out there.
That was the best part, dude.
What's your thoughts, Sweeney? Go ahead. Your retort.
My retort. Okay, so let's start with something here about framing.
And for the record, I now have my bourbon, so I feel much better.
You feel much better? You feel a little more grounded now?
Yeah, sorry for interrupting. Carry on.
That's right. I'm still sucking my water. I got another 8 ounces to go before I can have mine. Anyways, so in the world of photography, when you talk to any photographer who's been doing this for a while, they will fall into one of two camps. You either take pictures that are clean bordered, or you take pictures that are framed. And what that really is when you're shooting a framed image in photography, you're using an element on the sides or maybe somewhere within the image to push the attention to your subject. And people do that naturally. It's really kind of interesting that people will naturally do that without being trained, without being taught. It's just how it feels right when they take the picture. I shoot borders, framed, whatever you want to call it, all the time, always have. Some of my best friends, they shoot clean. That's just how the world works. So when you tell me the challenge is about framing, I'm probably not going to pick up a wooden frame and carry it around with me. I'm going to find some kind of element to play with, whether it be trees, grass, a hole in the wall, a doorway, something, and make a frame. In this particular image, I love the fact that he's got the diagonal lines of the windshield, and then right where it pushes the eye is that rear side of the mirror in color showing where you've been. Is it blurry? Yeah, it is. But you know what? With the overall style of the image, it works for me. It's interesting enough. I look at it and I kind of wonder what I would see if it was sharp. But I like it blurry because it's making me think.
But see, at the same time, I could see why that would frustrate someone like Mr. Kelley, and you want to look in that mirror.
Only someone that's overly OCD about his images.
Well, yeah, and we all are to a degree. We all are. I
resemble that remark. You see, the thing is, Mike, though, you're talking about your eye is drawn to the rearview mirror.
Yep.
I don't feel like my eye is drawn to the rearview mirror. My eye keeps getting drawn to the top of that corner, and because I keep thinking that the thing is a 7. I keep looking at it, and I keep seeing the
like
number
7.
Yeah, like a giant 7 in the middle of the screen.
Now, riddle me this: if he were to crop off that, can you zoom this a little bit out?
Honestly, I don't think this is a cropping problem.
I'm just curious.
Well, what I would have done, in all honesty, would have been to keep both.
So we've lost our 7.
Yeah. And how does that look? Hold on. Let's all look at Ant.
You can look at Ant.
Yeah, I don't know.
I've got a mixed feeling about this one.
Yeah, what I feel that if you really want to put the emphasis on the rearview mirror, and I think it would be cooler if it was like this, I would have also decolored the inside of the windshield.
And then left the rearview mirror colored.
The rearview mirror in color.
Now
I can see that.
Now, Ed just did something that got me thinking. This would be a lot of fun. Again, I'm going back to square crop today. If you were to square crop, lose most of the left and lose the bottom quarter of the door, so the mirror was actually in the lower right or in the lower left third, I think you'd get a better image out of it.
I think it would be less confusing.
You'd still get that cool color, no color going on. Shift left a little bit, Ant. Give us a little more on the left side, if you would. Keep going. About right there. About right there. And yeah.
That looks great.
But I would.
Oh, Joey froze up.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Through the windshield.
At least it's him, not me.
Repeat that, Joey. Repeat that, Joey. You froze up. Say that one more time.
I would still take out the color inside the windshield and just leave the rearview mirror. Well, the reason for that, though, is that the image is dominated by the rest of it, and if you really want to put the emphasis on the rearview mirror, even with a crop like that,
sometimes you need a bold stroke. I'm
with you, Joey. I'm with you on this, Joey. Black.
Yeah, well, you're
grayscale that
beer, so.
Grayscale this one out like he did that. Leave that color. That at least brings the attention to this one. Clearly brings the attention.
You know why? Sweeney can't say anything bad about me tonight because I'm still wearing a Firefly T-shirt.
There you go. You're right. All sins are forgiven.
Shiny, man. Shiny.
Go ahead, Sweeney. You're making me lose my calm.
Oh, man.
You know, the reason I'm kind of resistant to leaving just that rear view mirror colorized and everything else black and white is it reminds me too much of selective coloring, which is a trend that ought to die.
Why? Some shots look good as that, though. Well,
dude,
no, there are some things where people really overdo it, but
it is that particular technique is so overdone right now.
But heck, Sweeney, some people overdo HDR.
Yes, I know.
Trust me, I've seen that.
You know,
this would fall under the heading of all things in moderation.
Yeah. Indeed. Okay, let me move my cropping windows out of the way.
I like that cropping windows. I like that.
And we'll go and pick on another shot here. Good discussion, though. All right, I'm going to pick on Joey.
Okay, I was going to say.
I want to pick on Joey. Why?
Yeah, more for those fingers sucking up the view. It'd be a great picture.
You're right.
Because according to Joey, he followed the rule to the letter, right, Joey?
Well, if you'll notice, this is a frame, literally.
It is a frame.
Been transported to the location. If you look in the background on top of the baggage cart, you will see a stack of these things that are boot scrapers. I grabbed 2 of them, held them together. They weigh about 5 pounds a piece, by the way.
So your arm is sore now.
Yeah,
so
I
I'm holding
can see
2
your
of
fingers.
these.
You know, I can see your fingers really gripping that pretty hard.
Yeah, because I'm holding 2 of them, and it weighs about 10 pounds, and I'm holding that up, and I'm holding the camera with the other hand, and I'm literally going, okay, don't breathe, don't breathe.
Is this why the dog's laughing at you?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yeah. He is convinced that I am a psycho with a camera.
I think he's right.
Yeah, it might be.
Man.
Might be.
Joey, I'm going to give you credit. I think you did a good job on this, considering all of that. Because number one, you got to hold this thing still, hold your camera still to where you don't get a bunch of janky blur with that. Man, that's. I give you credit on this. My criticism: get rid of that up there.
Oh, oops.
Get rid of that up there.
He didn't crop too good.
That was the first thing that I saw, and that was the only thing that I had a problem with. I thought this was fairly creative to the letter of the theme, and I think you lucked out with the dog cooperating, because I don't know about you guys, but just about every time I look at someone try to take a photo of a dog, the dog will stare at them the whole time, but the second a camera comes out, they look away.
Oh yeah,
every single time. And I don't know if it's their nature. I don't know why it is, but every time I see someone try to snap a photo of a dog, the dog immediately looks away with their head down, their ears tucked back. But this dog, is that Chevy?
My dog has gotten used to having his.
Is that Chevy?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Hold on a second. I'm bringing up the original to show you how it originally looked.
Okay.
Hang on, let me do a screen share.
While you doing it, you shot this with the Nexus 6, and you did, let's see, straightening and cropping inside of Snapseed. Did you do any type of color adjustments or anything?
Nope, and that is the original that is on my screen right now.
All right, so we go to Joey's screen. There you are.
Let's see here.
Wow.
Yep.
You know, I almost kind of think this one's better than the one you entered.
Wow.
Well, the thing that I don't know. I was kind of 50-50 on it. That is literally, well, okay, I'm sorry. That's the shot after. That's the shot that I submitted right there that only cropped. And the thing was, at the time, we only had like 2 in the challenge, so I wasn't really sure how the challenge was going. I wasn't sure if it was the point was to leave the frame so that it was obvious where you saw the frame, or if it was to crop it down so you just saw what was through the frame. So I went with crop it down and look through the frame, because as you can see, I didn't hold it straight, so one corner's kind of cut off. The frame itself is blurry, so I said I'm just going to tighten up on this and make it an actual frame.
Just for the record, Joey. I like the frame blurry, and I like seeing the entire image.
I think this is the best one,
think
Joey.
This is a better one, Joey. The full shot is.
That's the one you should have entered. That is a hell of a shot. I like it.
It's the same shot. It's just cropped.
Just cropped.
Yeah, well,
right. You overcropped it.
As we all know, you can make or break an image with cropping.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And you didn't break this image, but
it
was
a
good image this one better. It was a good image before, but when you show it with the one before you cropped it, that is the best image.
Yep, indeed.
Well, okay, so next time we do a framing challenge, I'll ask you guys first whether I should crop it or not.
As you should.
I should.
Generally, you can enter more than generally it's three shots. Enter it cropped and enter it uncropped.
That has been done before.
That has been done before. Now,
and that way, everybody votes on the one they think is the best one.
Yeah. Yeah, there were also some other shots from that same day. This, by the way, the other shot that I did enter came from the same day, but I did almost submit this one as well. Oh, Sweeney, get the phone.
Yeah,
I don't like that one.
Well, the reason why I like it is that it's kind of mysterious, and it's literally a door frame.
Yeah.
pun not intended. It literally is. And then I said, all right, well, let me see if I can shoot it again with the inside lit up. And that resulted in that, which I didn't like at all either.
No, don't like that one.
No, I didn't like that one either. I rejected that on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the first one, though, go back to the first one, door frame.
That one?
Yeah. What I don't like about it is it's just a door frame. And you were wanting a mysterious feel to it. Maybe put, I don't know, like darken it a little bit and put some grunge on it or something to make it a little grunge on it. You know, I don't know, but I mean that right there, that just looks like, I mean, that just looks like a door, you know.
Yeah, it like I said, it was not one of my more creative moments, which is why I went over and did this and submitted this.
Yeah, I like that one too.
I like it.
I like
that one I submitted, and it actually got one more vote than the dog did.
Mm-hmm. I like this one too, but I like the dog one. Personally, I like the dog one more because the dog gives it a different emotion for me. You know what I mean?
I agree. I threw this in the challenge because I didn't want to just throw it in the Android photos, Android cameras used category and see it get lost. I wanted somebody to like actually give me some feedback on it.
Of course.
The black and white one, that is. But I don't know. I think it's a better picture in some ways, but I don't think that it is necessarily a better use of the framing challenge.
Right.
So. Yeah.
Oh, before we get through, I got a picture that I want Sweeney to see. I just put it in the group. Not in the challenge, but in the group.
Okay. Well, we're going to go ahead and try to get through this one here.
To show the winner.
This is our winning shot here from my man Luke Fabrizer. Fabrizer. I don't know. I'm sorry.
Aren't you?
Luke, I have no idea how to pronounce your name, and I apologize for butchering your name. But
that's
Luke,
a hell of a frame.
That is.
Yes.
I'm trying to figure out how is this frame suspended. Oh, it looks like a rope there.
Yep. He has picture frame on. I mean, framing wire holding it up.
Okay.
Or a chain or a rope.
Yeah, now this one, he shot this with an M8, an HTC One M8. And again, that's one of those phones with the lower end camera specs. But since he shot this in the shade, it worked for him. He didn't get a lot of noise and artifacts with this shot.
And I gotta wonder if he used HDR on it, because he got the bright side looking pretty good along with the shadow.
I bet he did.
The HTC One does have an HDR mode.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's generally the one you would like to use on that, because the HTC One doesn't have one of the best cameras around.
This what I like about this one, number one, is the frame. He didn't do a whole perfectly centered frame shot like most people would think to do. He went a little differently. Has this thing at an angle, and then he's got sort of a bullseye with this side here. I thought that was pretty clever.
It's not bullseye.
That ain't bullseye? That's not.
Nope.
Well, no, it is a little bit high.
Dude.
Now, I'm going to point something out to you.
No, it's a little bit higher. It's not totally dead center.
I'm going to point something out to you that makes me kind of smile. And look, if this wasn't intentional, claim it is. So, if you look at the shadow lines in the lower left, they're at a diagonal to the frame almost perfectly.
Wow.
And then you got a shadow behind that's almost parallel to the frame perfectly. I'm telling you, if you didn't plan that, you better claim you did, because it's brilliant.
I bet he did.
The thing that I love the most about this photo is that it is the personification of the challenge.
Yeah.
Literally bringing a frame out.
Yes.
Shooting it.
Most definitely.
That is, I don't think there's a better example of what was intended by the spirit of the challenge than that.
And I want to point out that paying attention to details like those shadow lines is what it's all about with composition.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he nailed this. He nailed it.
Now, so raise the hands. Who saw the shadow lines before I mentioned it?
I didn't look. I didn't even look at that. My attention was, number one, the type of camera that he used, and knowing based on my own personal experience what's going to happen with that camera in this scenario.
You damn hardware geeks. Yeah.
No, yeah, that's real. I was like, okay, he shot this thing outside. That's one thing I'm not going to do with that camera. But yet he went up under a shade tree, so that's why this worked. That was the first thing that came to my mind. And then I went into the fact that, you know what, he flipped this frame sideways. Well, not sideways, but at an angle, not necessarily straight on. You know, I like that's what I was
those
digging.
Lines, everything, all the lines match up. The shadow lines, even the fence line. I like the way it's done.
And you know, his little sign in the middle is actually horizontal with the horizon on the grass.
Yeah, it's lined up.
Not quite.
Really? That looks pretty lined up to me.
No, it's close. It's really, really close, but it's not quite. If you look actually at the tree line in the background.
Again, we're talking about Mr. OCD. I'm surprised he's not measuring the blades of grass.
And we thought Sweeney was bad about it.
You're all wrong. Yeah, but no, it's not. My point being is that if this is one of those images that looks so good that you go, is this photoshopped? Right. And it's little things like it's not quite lined up that make you go, no, this is actually a raw image that was taken, and I have no reason to doubt it.
Somebody shot it. Somebody didn't work it. They shot it. Yep. Good stuff. Well,
Very
Luke, congratulations to you, my man. You are now tasked with a new challenge for the community. Feel free to reach out to me if you need assistance getting this challenge posted. I will be pinging you myself either this evening or tomorrow or something like that to get a challenge up as soon as possible so the rest of the community can participate in it and not necessarily feel rushed before next Thursday. So congratulations to you, brother.
Well done, Luke.
Yes, very well done.
All right. Before we get out of here, there was some what did I do to my screen?
I don't know. And Sweeney, I'm going to hang you. You cost me some money tonight.
What the hell did I do?
If you look at my screenshot.
Yeah, I did see something about an app that was bought.
And if you notice who is in the wanted poster.
The community most wanted.
There we go.
I'm trying to figure out what is going on with my screen here, folks.
You actually look good on this end, yeah.
Yeah, you're fine.
I'm actually staring at a blue hangout window. Everything is like I got a highlight over it or something.
No, you're looking
good. You're fine.
All right, I'm just going to ignore
every now and then Joey
ignore it.
Hopefully it doesn't give me hopefully it doesn't give me a seizure. Jeez. Anyway, before we get out of here, there was a few things we wanted to try to discuss. I had a shot that I wanted to share and discuss, and Sweeney looks like he's got a shot. What's this, my man?
So, you know, we all know and love our smartphones, and they all have pano modes, and you know they'll make pano images really easy to do. However, I was curious, and you know, when I get curious, all bets are off. So what I ended up doing is I actually took 3 separate images with my smartphone and then stitched them in Photoshop just to see how much of an image I could get out of it. Mm-hmm. And this is what I ended up with 3 shots being stitched in the newest Photoshop.
You know, when you said you were merging them together, I was thinking I totally looked over the fact that you said pano right there. I totally looked over that, but I was thinking more along the lines of how
like an
Photoshop,
HDR.
Yeah, do that. No. That HDR.
No, these were straight images, no HDR used, nice. And I let Photoshop stitch them end to end. So this is really 3 full-size images. That's 3 8-megapixel images that were stitched together.
I tell you, sometimes, you know, as much as I like the pano that's in the camera, it has a tendency to make it too narrow. And by doing it like doing it the old-fashioned way, like we do with a SLR, and on a tripod, you just program and just move it over. Make sure you don't move anything. Then let a stitching program or Photoshop. I think those panels are really better looking.
Now, the one thing that did come to mind immediately when I did this, and what you're not seeing is the trimmed edges, is the phone horrendously distorted when it was stitched as a pano. Because the phone's got such a wide angle of view, you get these bubbles at the edges, and it takes a fair amount of work to smooth it out. Of course, Apple does all that built in. So when you do it in Photoshop, you got to figure it out on your own to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
But you can pretty much lose probably a third of the image by trimming off both sides to get the correct centering. But I got what I wanted. I wanted to play with the sun, and I wanted to get those clouds, and by God, that's what I got.
And I like this composition with the sun being over in that little lower corner like that, and it's there enough to get some attention, but again, those clouds really, really mix this image, my man, in my opinion anyway.
It's stuff like this is what gets me out of the house at 5:30 in the morning.
Of course.
Well, I can see why. That's spectacular.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and the one challenge we had recently where they were saying, take a picture of the sun, I had cloud cover the entire flipping week.
Yes, that makes me happy, Mr. Southern California.
Yeah, the gods are against me on that one.
Nice. that makes me happy to hear that. Good shot.
Yeah, nice to have him have bad weather for a change.
Oh, bad?
Yeah, cloudy weather is bad.
I'll take my cloudy day and my 68 degrees. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Cloudy weather is bad for him.
Have you ever used Auto Stitch, Sweeney?
Yes.
And what do you think about that versus Photoshop?
It actually works pretty well. Depending on the images, it can actually work better.
Yeah. I've had very good luck with it, and of course the low price of free helps.
Yes, it does.
No doubt.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Now, there's actually some commercial stuff for Photoshop I want to play with next. I still have those 3 same images, and I'm going to drop it into a dedicated pano tool and see what they can do with it.
So basically, these folks, that's what they specialize in. They care less about everything else.
They're a plugin for Photoshop, and they do a fabulous job, but you pay $80 for the plugin.
There's a ton of different plugins and things out there that I had no idea existed until recently. I've been going through a few more tutorials with Photoshop and with Lightroom, and then you see these different ads where someone says, "Hey, I have a plugin for this functionality and a plugin for that functionality."
Yep.
I'm like, "Jeez."
Oh, you can get addicted to plugins.
I didn't know it was like that. I mean, but I guess that sort of helps cut down some of the workflow time, maybe.
Well, so this is a knife that cuts both ways.
Mm-hmm.
So people get preset happy, and they start collecting presets, and they try to fix all their woes using the preset.
Right.
When the reality is, if they would just spend a little time learning how to use the tool themselves, instead of sinking all the time and money into the presets, they would be much better off.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get lost down rabbit holes playing with filters and presets and this effect and that effect.
I always find if the picture is horrible, no matter how many presets or how many filters you use, will make it better.
Well, I would agree with that, and I preach that. The one thing I would caution you about, Ant, as a new Photoshop user, there's a bell curve. So you've got the normal bell curve, right? Okay, so at one end of the bell curve is you just starting.
Yep.
No presets, don't know jack. And then that top of the bell curve is when you find presets and you realize how much time you can put into it. And then the back end of the bell curve is when you realize you don't need all that crap and you're just editing your pictures.
And fortunately, I haven't decided to invest in any of those presets. I see a lot of them out there, but
man, they are. There are a few that I've invested in, but I've invested because they tend to be tonality color presets mixed in with clipping mask. So it's a template. and I've manipulated the template to suit my own needs.
Okay.
And so instead of trying to do all the layers by hand is really time consuming.
Yeah.
So I'll get the preset and the template, change it to meet my needs, and that will save me time.
Mm-hmm. Like I got in Lightroom, I have a lot of the topaz filters and stuff, and I just get the ones just that I need, and all they do is just kind of snap up the picture a little bit, because if the picture, as I said, the picture's not good, no matter how many filters or how many presets you have, you can never save it. You just might just throw it. If I look at it and said, "Oh, this is a piece of crap," I just throw it away.
Yeah. Well, presets have their place. I mean, I make presets in Lightroom. So when I shoot, like take those sports pictures I took this weekend.
Right.
So here's something that people don't realize about their smartphone or their DSLR. When you're outside on a green soccer field or a football field or whatever, and you're shooting, you're getting all this green light reflected off the grass. And guess what happens to your overall image? It turns green.
Turns it green tint.
Turns it green.
Mm-hmm.
And I've really not found a good editing tool on the phone yet that will let me get that out of there. So my images go into Lightroom. The reason is I can take all those images, all 100 of them, or 5 or 300. I can set one image up, make a preset that removes the green, sets my sharpening, sets up the contrast, and then I can apply it to all 100 at a single click. That's a huge time saver.
Yeah.
You know, it takes me maybe 5 minutes to make the preset, maybe a little bit less, and then 30 seconds to hit all the rest of the images.
Well, just like when I take all these pictures from my hog meetings, the room we have, and with the fluorescent lights and the sun lighting, it has a tendency to turn everything really yellow.
Oh,
I
yeah.
have to go in, and when I just set that same one, all the other ones, because all the settings on the camera are the same, I do the same thing. I just go edit on all of them, and they all come out the same way, and it does. Instead of having to go through each one frame by or picture by picture, I can do the whole thing at one time, and it's really neat.
Yeah, but see right now, and I think Sweeney described it fairly well, is I'm still dabbling with this stuff, and it makes a difference if I understand what happens if I move that first slider on the curves tool. If I understand what happens, if I understand what happens if I move that third slider,
you gotta play with it.
And the presets are nice, and it would make things quicker, but I don't think it's going to help me in the long run. Jumping in presets,
understand what you're doing.
Yeah, it always takes time, because I've been using Aperture for quite a long time, once they announced that getting close to when I had the writing was on the wall when it hasn't been upgraded in a while, so right at the middle of Mavericks, and they really haven't upgraded it. I said, you know what? I think this is the end of lines coming to it soon.
Yep.
So I went to Lightroom because I used to use Lightroom until Aperture came out, and I kind of wanted to stay in the Appleverse and the Apple universe, and Aperture was great at its time, but they never really got caught. At one time it had caught up to Lightroom, but then Lightroom passed it, and
it moved on.
And then I finally said, okay, I saw the writing on the end of on the wall. Said, let me relearn Lightroom, and I've been on Lightroom ever since. But you first start using it, it takes a little while to learn it. Now, I can almost like Sweeney does. I have certain presets I already set up, and I will just start going right to it. And there is a learning curve on both, on Lightroom and on Photoshop.
Well, honestly, Lightroom does 80% of what Photoshop does nowadays, maybe even a bit more. So
it's funny, Sweeney. Just last night, I was working on a photo, and I found myself. I started out in Lightroom with it, and I was working on it because I was using my compact system camera. So I put it up in Lightroom, and then I realized, you know what, I need Photoshop. So then I pushed it over to Photoshop with the whole edit in Photoshop option. Did what I needed to do there. Then I was like, oh, damn, this looks nice. But if I put it back in Lightroom, I could probably fix this and that. And so and so on that I can't necessarily fix in Photoshop. So then I flip back to Lightroom. So Lightroom is pretty daggone powerful considering.
In fact, that's what a lot of people do. They'll go between Lightroom, Photoshop, Lightroom to finish. They'll do their major editing in Lightroom. Then if there's little tweaks that you really just can't get in Lightroom, you throw it in Photoshop.
The details. Yeah, the
and then to finish it up, they go back to Lightroom. Well, just like I noticed Lightroom will also play with Pixelmator.
Mm-hmm.
So
and again, folks that don't have access to something like Lightroom, there is Light Zone out there online for free that is fairly competitive, and also Polar. It's another competitor.
There's actually another one that I'm going to start playing with. It's called Capture One.
Capture One.
I've heard about that one.
I've heard a lot of good things about it.
Okay.
But I've yet to play with it, so I can't really say yay or nay.
Okay. I'll look into that one too, and
it's not free, but it's not terribly expensive either.
Uh-huh.
And it's got a lot of appeal for people that want to stay away from the cloud. So Adobe's doing the whole cloud thing, and not everybody's happy with that.
What was that one called? Polar what?
Polar. POLAR.co is the website.
Polar.co.
Right.
Actually, it might be POLARR.co. I can't remember.
Yep.
I don't mind the cloud. I very rarely do I put my pictures up to Adobe's cloud. I just generally use my local storage, which is a Drobo that's on a Thunderbolt 2 line. So it's just really. So I don't mind. What I use it for is the upgrades, because the amount that you have to pay for those upgrades.
Right.
Pays for that whatever
the subscription.
The subscription, which is I just got the photo subscription. I don't have the full CS. I just get Lightroom and Photoshop. What is it? $5 something.
Yeah, it's a lot cheaper with that package. Let's I want to show you guys this shot here, because it was I told someone it was either in the community or maybe it was a follower. I can't remember. Before Mr. Sweeney's sun blinds him. The sunshine will blind him. But I wanted to pull up a shot.
Tell it's getting late.
Yeah, it also blinds us coming off that Chrome Dome.
Yeah.
You're just jealous. This photo I took the other day at lunchtime, and when I shared it in the community, I mentioned that there was something that got my attention, and I think I just got lucky, to be honest with you. And I was wondering if any of you guys would see it. So here's the shot. Let's see if I can pull it full screen there. And there we go. All right. So is there anything that stands out to you guys that in particular, or anything you like, dislike, what have you? This was shot with the Nexus 6.
I like the blues, and
looks
I love
like a
that.
prop from the movie The Exorcist.
Yeah, it does.
It also looks like a deer that that the antlers went crazy on.
I thought it was a memoriam to the golden age of colonic expiration.
You did ask, Ant.
Oh my gosh.
You asked and you forgot who you were asking.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Yep.
Good job. Well
Do
played,
not ask me a question if you do not expect me to answer sarcastically.
Jeez.
But to give you serious props, I actually like the photo.
Thank you.
I like the way that you have either intentionally or unintentionally gotten the clouds blurred. I think that actually adds something, because it puts the foreground much more in the photo's face, so to speak. I do like that, although it is not centered, it is a relatively good example of the rule of thirds, in that you've got the background primarily up in the top, you've got the focus of the image is primarily in the center third, and the foreground is primarily in the lower third. So I like that.
Thank you.
I might have come in and made it a vertical instead of a square,
Mm-hmm.
and taken out the light post. specifically because it's distracting.
That was a common suggestion that I got, was get rid of that light post.
That's the only thing.
And the fact that you mentioned the clouds, I appreciate that, because that was post editing. I did I adjusted the clarity and I put some Gaussian blur on another layer to help bring these out a little more.
Matt, you know what you could have done? Somehow erased that light pole and just leave the background there.
Mm-hmm.
That would have really looked good.
Your thoughts, Sweeney?
That would be selective content fill.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So y'all didn't go to what I was thinking. Well, this is what crossed my mind. No, clearly no. When I went outside, I was at lunch, and I took my son with me. He went and shot some photos too, and he didn't shoot this angle. He shot another angle. If I can find it, I would share it later on. But when I shot it, I stood there and I was framing it up because I knew I wanted to get this. This is actually called tree sculpture. This piece of art is, and I remember framing it up and thinking, okay, get the right light, yada yada yada. And before I hit the shutter, I noticed this diagonal, and I was like, huh, that's pretty cool. The diagonal has all of these other additional street lights sort of going on up to this one, going on up this way, going on up that way, going on up that way. And then after I snapped it and looked at it on the phone, I saw the diagonal, but then just as Joey said, I saw the rule of thirds, because I did come back later and crop this thing out to where I only had that particular shot there, or just another version of it. And that's why I said I think I just got lucky in this shot.
We'll make a photographer out of you yet.
maybe one of these centuries. Maybe in another lifetime.
But to be honest, I mean, I think that the majority of good pictures, or good photographs, if you want to use the technical term, is a combination of luck and skill. Mm-hmm. The luck. When I say luck, I include all things: timing, scheduling, location, and whatnot. So some of those you can control, some of those you can't.
Yeah.
And that's what I incorporate when I say luck. It's not just literally I got lucky today or I didn't. I mean, it's literally, everything from where you are, whatnot. And the other thing is how to use the equipment. There is an old cliche in photography: there is no such thing as bad light. There's only bad photographers. And that is, in my opinion, true, because you can shoot in almost pitch black darkness and get spectacular pictures if you have the proper equipment and know how to use it.
Right.
So I've taken some...
Damn it, he froze. Come back, Joey. Don't go to the light, Joey.
Okay, so I've taken some beautiful pictures at high noon, and then my hangout freezes. And traditionally, high noon is the worst time to take pictures because there's no shadows. Everything is straight up and down, more or less. Right. And that's universally regarded as the worst time to take pictures. But if you're a good enough photographer and you know how to work with your gear, and you can find a location that'll work, you can shoot at any time under any conditions, and things will work.
Make it work.
So that's what I mean by luck, is that it's not just having awesome equipment. You need to be able to know how to use it, but you can have the best equipment and know how to use it all day long. And some kid can run out with a tiny point-and-shoot camera that happens to be right in the middle of a gun battle and get the perfect picture because he was in the right place at the right time.
Right spot at the right time.
Right.
Good point, sir. Good point. All right, well, we're going to get out of here. We've run just a few minutes over, not too bad this time. Let me allow you guys to plug what you're doing and working on, and let folks know where we can find all of your other work. So we'll start with my man up in the Bangor area, Maine.
That would be me. You can find all of my photo work scattered around the various Facebooks and various Google Plus pages. My photography is centered around Joey Kelley, Kelley, photo.com. And you can see an archive of 90 days of what was supposed to be a year-long project at ayearinmaine.com. And the epic fail on that, I got about 100 days into it and went, okay, this is old, and stopped. It's really, really hard to be creative every single day.
It's hard work, dude. It's hard work.
Oh, yeah, and Michael's giving me the world's smallest violin. But let me rephrase that. It's very difficult to be creative every day, all day, every time when you're trying to work another job.
I agree.
To that.
I agree.
Yeah.
Although I would say this, it's all about how you approach it.
Mm-hmm.
You can turn that
No, he's sidelined
to
on
do a day job into a valuable asset.
Yay!
Say that again, Sweeney. You
were breaking up bad.
Say that one more time.
I'm saying
you broke up bad.
Well, Joey's infecting my system here. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I hear you. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, Joey just dropped completely. All right. So what I'm saying is it's really a state of mind. So, yes, it's a liability that you have a day job, but you can really approach that day job as a valuable asset. It's all about your frame of mind and how you want to approach the problem. You can do it two ways. You can sit there and bitch and moan about it and cry the blues, or you can suck it up and make something of it.
Yeah, the problem was that I wasn't working a 40-hour regular job. I was trying to take my own business from zero and lift it into a full-time gig. So the thought was that I was going to do two things all at once. I was going to run around
things all at once.
two full-time things all at once. And it got to the point where I literally had a day that I forgot to take a picture. It wasn't even intentional. I literally forgot. I got up in the morning. I worked all day. I got back home. It was after midnight, and I had forgotten to take a picture.
And how guilty did you feel?
Incredibly guilty. Then I did it again the next day, and then I didn't feel so bad.
It's a very slippery slope, my friend.
That's awesome. Thank you again, Mr. Kelley. Appreciate you hanging out with us as always, my man. Next up, Mr. Michael King. Where do we find you and your work, my man?
Well, you can find me Saturday at the Bel Air Civic Center at the Hog Swap Meet. This is where we buy and sell old Macs and everything. Mm-hmm. But all my work can be found as Michael King 4023 at any of the photo sites like Flickr and Google Plus, Facebook, because I will put some stuff up on, as someone likes to call it, face crack.
Of course.
And but that's where you can find me.
All right.
Mainly this weekend, you'll find me at the on the board at the Houston Area Apple Users Group.
Hog, baby.
Hog.
Can you get me a Mac turned into?
And he froze up
and
again.
he froze. Hey, for once, guess who's not freezing?
Yeah, it's not Michael King freezing tonight. What the heck's going on here? Jeez.
Well,
Thank you again.
Get me a Mac that looks like a fish, that's built into a fish tank. But I don't know.
We have someone has a iMac, the original Bondi Blue iMac that they turned into a fish aquarium.
Pretty cool.
I've been looking to do that.
Pretty cool. Mineral oil, right?
Yep.
That's what's up. All right. Thank you, Mr. King. Next up, my man, Mike Sweeney. Where do we find you and your work?
You can start finding me at msmedia.me. Do not use .com. You'll get to some rather rude site. But you want msmedia at me. Me. You can find me on the Facebook, Crackbook, whatever you want to call it, Michael Sweeney Photography. You can find me in the Twitterverse, Light and Images. You can even find me at home right now. I have a newly restored Marantz amp, and I put a new needle on the record player.
Oh,
Turntable, if you want to be precise.
I saw your little phonograph
That's
there,
right.
brother.
And I plan to do some shopping at Ambrosia this weekend and restock my album supply.
Oh my gosh, vinyl. You know what?
What's old is new again. Vinyl sales are up like 30% from last year.
I want to send you a digital signal processor that I have here. It was sent for me for review, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts on using that with your vinyl. Just what that has. I'll get you information. I'll send it to you and let you try that out and let me know what you think. I like it. Yes, I like it here for my music. It sounds really good for my FLAC files.
Okay.
And it sounds really good for the higher bit rate MP3s that I have. Now the lower bit rate MP3s that I have,
not so much.
It just made it loud. It didn't make it better. It just made it loud. Yeah. You know. I was curious to see.
Define higher rate MP3.
Something at least at 320 kilobits per second. You know.
We can do that.
Something at least like that. But lower than that, it just made it louder. Didn't make it sound any better. It's just loud.
But vinyl is the way to go. I think it sounds better than anything digital.
Most old folks think that.
It's all those hipsters.
Yeah, the hipsters are bringing it back.
Appreciate you bringing it back. I was watching Kelley Lewis or Lori Petrucci and her guy that she lives with. He bought a brand new record player, stereo, because he loves vinyl.
Y'all can add that. I'll keep my digital for now.
Mine is not brand new, but mine is one of the better ones for sure.
I have an old realistic Myrecord that I've had since the
that's okay.
70s.
Anyway, we're gonna go
since the 70s.
We're gonna go.
I still use it.
We appreciate you joining us, my man. All right. Lastly, me. Even though I have a blue screen on my computer here, I don't know why it's got me in a blue tint when it looks at me. I don't. It looks like I highlighted the window. That's exactly how it looks. I don't get it. Whatever.
Windows. He's blue,
right.
But it be but a die.
Jeez. Hopefully it looks all right to you guys. Anyway, I'm at Pruitt, and even though my little lower third has been wrong the whole daggum time, so let's just
I just noticed it.
So,
way to go,
right
Mr.
there.
Pruitt.
That's me. I am Ant Pruitt. Find me on Twitter at @_Pruitt, or just search for Ant Pruitt in your Google or Bing search, and it will point you in a direction to where you can find me online. I also have a YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Ant Pruitt, where you will find all of these smartphone photography videos there, and as well as my other content that I do that's just off the wall videos. Recent off the wall video was me and my hardheads. We went bowling, and yeah, we're pretty unbelievable when it comes to bowling. That's all I'll say on that.
Did you wear a bowling shirt?
No, I didn't.
Wear a bowling shirt.
Damn, that's what I need.
Oh, about the bowling shirts, dude.
I need a bowling shirt, man. Oh, good call.
See, this is a chance for a fashion statement.
That's a good call.
Yeah,
that's my next mission.
Hawaiian shirt.
Right.
That is a good call. Good call.
And just go get a Hawaiian shirt and go bowling in it.
No, not the same. But yeah, find me there on those different outlets. Be sure to check out my writing. I still do my technology commentary and other rants over on a new domain. I appreciate them giving a brother another opportunity to write. I have some. I just wrote up I got a review that I've been writing tonight, and I need to get that thing published in the next couple of days, so stay tuned for that if you're into media servers. All right, folks. If you're interested in joining our smartphone photographers community, be sure to hit any of these guys up, and we can show you how to request an invite, and we'll do a little background check on you to make sure you're going to fit in, make sure you're not just a spammer that wants to show me all of your selfies. I like selfies, but damn it, I can only see so many of them. And also be sure to check out our website, smartphone-photographers.com, run on the back end by my man, Mr. Matt Lee, who now moved his Android podcast to another day without telling me. Sorry, rascal. But anyway, folks, we'll catch you guys next Thursday about 9 p.m. Eastern time, just like every other Thursday. And I appreciate you watching. Hit like and subscribe. And go ahead, Sweeney.
I got one thing to say.
Say it, brother.
So for all of you with smartphones and you're trying to find inspiration and something fun to do and shoot and have a good time, August 1st and 2nd, Queen Mary, Long Beach. Be there. Why? Because it's a bacon festival. You get to eat, play on the boat, and get some fabulous pictures.
Dude.
Well, just like here, next month they're going to have a shrimp festival on the Lexington.
You know, I like to end these things in a good mood. Y'all are not helping that.
Hey, it's a great mood for me.
Damn it, man. All right. Jeez, thanks for that. Sorry, Rascals.
You're welcome.
All right, folks. Y'all take care. Appreciate y'all watching. Click like, click subscribe, tell a friend, share it with an enemy too. And we'll see y'all next time. Peace.